excellent. And I will turn on my camera and say hello and welcome. I'm Meg Foley. I'm the Professional Development Coordinator for the Board of Building Standards. I supervise the certification and education programs here at the board, as well as building department certification. And I work with Amy closely on personnel certifications, work with Mike Lane on education stuff, and with Pam Butts, often she sort of fills in gaps for everything that we do. She's the person you'll get on the front line when you call in before you reach a direct person if you didn't dial one of our direct numbers. So this is Certification Basics. You're certified. And you want to know what you need to do to get from your interim or trainee certification that you currently have to full certification status. We're going to go through your interim requirements, how you move from interim to full, and then the requirements to maintain your full certification. Your role. You've applied for and received an interim or a trainee certification. If you are an interim, that means that you can do the job that you are hired for. You don't need to be supervised. You are determined to be fully qualified for the job. You're an interim because you haven't completed your exams or Code Academy or both. This might be your first certification, or it may be uh, the 15th one that you have, but it's been a long time since you've gone through the process. What's next? For an interim, you need to complete Code Academy and take your exams. Those exams are the exams that are listed on the matrix that's included with our applications. We also have an application information handbook now that Amy and I developed to answer your questions, and it includes the matrices and the contacts for the testing organizations. If you would like a copy of that, please just drop me a note and I will email it to you. We also have a certification examination resource that we've put together, and that has several videos about taking your exams, including the ones that Paul Kowalczyk showed yesterday about preparing for the exam, on the day of the exam, going through the process to get your computer and testing room verified, and then after the exam. And we also have in that packet a great 1-hour video that we did, a conversation with the director of testing at ICC. Her name is Autumn Saylor. It was an excellent conversation, and we have that in our uh, information handbook, application information handbook, and in our certification resource packet. So ICC does offer exams for all certifications, and those are listed on our matrix, what exams you need to take. This is their website. If you would like a copy of my slide deck, I can certainly send that to you. NCP CCI offers exams for almost everything except for building official. The number of exams that you need to take for one certification or the other, depending on the organization that you're testing through, does change. ICC does offer reciprocity for NCP CCI exams so that you can still become an ICC member if you take your exams through NCP CCI. There may be limitations with each organization for testing timing that you need to take. Um, I know that Paul mentioned that you would need to um, wait 30 days if you take a test through NCP CCI and do not pass. With ICC, You can take the test 6 times within a 6-month period, and then you would have to wait for that 6-month period to expire before you try testing again. And that's measured from the first date of your first test. If you need assistance, if you have a learning disability or accessibility issues, the programs will offer you accommodations to help you prepare for, to help work with the exam take procedures. And there are also many programs out there that help you to prepare. There are online testing uh, academies, essentially, such as West Coast Code Consultants, that offer that. Talk to your coworkers or call the board for suggestions on those. Where are we in this? The board's role is to help you advance your career and to make you the best you can be in this very essential first responder public safety career. This career is the only public safety career where you are working to prevent accidents from happening. You don't show up after something has happened generally. You're there to catch errors before somebody gets hurt. And it's a very noble calling. We're very happy to have you here with us. We do run into some frequent misunderstandings. The first one is that moving to full certification happens automatically. It doesn't. There's a form for that. We need you to request to be moved to full certification status. And with that request, you'll need to send in confirmation that you've completed Code Academy and that you've completed your examinations. We do not get examination reports from ICC or NCP CCI. You need to report that to us with our form for full certification. Some people think that and if you hold an interim, you need continuing education. Interims do not need to obtain continuing other education other than the Code Academy. We anticipate that you are preparing for your exams, and that's certainly plenty of education in code it in and of itself. And Code Academy is 24 hours of education, almost exactly the same amount as you would need for a full 3-year full certification. Sometimes we receive requests for extensions. BBS does not grant extensions of interim or trainee certifications. We had a situation several years ago before I started with the board where people would continually ask for extensions of their interim certifications to avoid taking tests or simply because they hadn't gotten to Code Academy. The board made a policy of not offering extensions. However, if your certification expires, you can't work, but you can complete your Code Academy and your exams to move to full certification with an application for full certification within 1 year of your expiration. After that, you'll need to apply for interim certification again. You have 3 tries at interim certification without completing all of your requirements before the board's going to insist that you apply with your exams and Code Academy already completed. How to get to full certification. You're going to collect your exam results, your Code Academy certificate. You're going to prepare and sign that application for full certification and email it or mail it to BBS. We'll process that automatically, and you should receive your new certification card within 7 to 10 days of you submitting to us. Please make sure that your email and address are up to date on the forms that you send us. That's going to help us communicate with you in the future. We would like to have both a personal email and a work email for you so that we can reach you if you change departments. excuse me, maintaining your full certification. You will need 30 hours of continuing education every renewal period. If you now hold full certifications, this Code Academy will provide 24 hours of continuing education for your full certifications and will meet your code administration and existing buildings requirements and ethics because you are required to complete ethics with Code Academy. Code Academy does not count to your first full certification renewal. If this is the only certification that you hold, you can't carry it forward. So you'll need 30 hours in that first 3 years. And again, all fully certified people are required to have 3 hours of Chapter 1 code administration, 3 hours of existing buildings education, and 1 hour of ethics each renewal period every 3 years. How do you know when it's time to renew? You're going to get a letter from us with a renewal form. And you'll get that between 60 and 90 days before your certification is due for renewal. The form's going to request your updated address and contact information and the department information if you're working for a department. You're going to include uh, certificates from the continuing education you take in order to demonstrate that you have completed your 30 hours. BBS has moved to approving all courses for all certifications, so you're not going to have to send in separate stacks of certificates for your RBO and your BI, for example. The 30 hours will be applicable to all certifications in almost all circumstances. For each certification that you're going to be renewing, you'll send in $30. So if you have 5 certifications, that'll be $150. And currently, all of this is paper-based. We do not have the capacity to receive electronic payments, and we don't have an online form where you can just renew your certification and upload, say, a spreadsheet of the courses you've taken. We are working towards that. We have our fingers crossed that by the time this group of newly certified personnel reaches their first renewal period, we'll have an online portal system in place for you to handle this much more easily and quickly. This is another reason to maintain a good email address with us. You will receive emails from us providing clear information when we have a new portal. Your email will be used to create your sign in for that new portal. I don't know when it's going to happen. I wish I did. We have been working towards this for the entire time I've been here. I've been here almost 7 years. But I know that Amy is very much looking forward to a new system as well, right, Amy?
Oh, like you have no idea.
Exactly. Actually, I very much have an idea. All right, so what do you do next? Well, once you're to full certification, you're going to probably find another certification you want to apply for based on your experience or what your department needs, or a job opening you'd like to take advantage of. Most of our certified personnel hold between 3 and 6 certifications. And with all of the retirements of the 30-year inspectors happening now, it's going to be more important than ever that newly certified people develop their bank of skills to replace the skill sets that are retiring. Keep building your career, and we're here to help you do that. All right, any questions? Any questions? All right, Matthew, what's up?
So I'm going to get my BI. I've already passed my commercial test. I'm working on my commercial mechanical. Once I pass that, do I got to request like my RBI certification, or how does that work? Or do I need to take the residential test for that?
Okay, so commercial tests will always cover your residential exams. So once you pass um, your commercial building and commercial mechanical, those will count for both your residential building inspector and also your residential building official. You can send in an application now for your residential building official. We will grant that administratively, and you will only need to complete the building official breakout in order to be fully certified as a residential building official as well. Residential building officials can do orders, they can do plans, examinations, and they can do residential building and mechanical inspections. So
Okay.
we'd encourage you to do that. And if you want to hang around tomorrow afternoon and take the building official breakout, we'll recognize that if you drop us an application within the next month for your residential certification.
Okay. Well, I was going to be my next question if I could hang around and do that. So
Yes,
that works out perfect. Thank you so much.
yes. Okay, let's see. I see a few questions in the chat. Is any of this Code Academy going to be available for viewing at a later time? That's a good question, Jeff. In fact, we have most of the courses that you're taking now available on our self-study page, and I'll go ahead and throw up a link to that for you. Um, and then in the future, we're hoping that we have an online availability through Ohio Learn to be able to offer this information in a sort of a one-shot course where you're going to get a certificate right from Ohio Learn after you've completed your online Code Academy. So I'll put up Amy, can you put up the link to the training? Actually, I've got it. Never mind. Here's the link to the self-study page with the recordings of classes we've done previously at Code Academy online. Um, Moving back, we have I didn't get a chance to ask this in other classes, but does the existing building code only apply to commercial buildings or does it apply to residential? Currently, the Ohio Existing Building Code, which used to be Chapter 34, and all of us have slipped at least once in calling it Chapter 34, when in fact Chapter 34 now just sends you to the Ohio Existing Building Code. It only applies to commercial at present. Residential has section 113, which applies to existing buildings and residential. That's a good point, Chad. Don't forget to apply for your RBO after obtaining your BI. It is granted administratively, but you don't just get it when you get your BI. You have to apply for it and send in your $50. Uh, Non-residential IU, you would have to apply for non-residential IU. Those tests, the building and mechanical would in fact apply. That's changing. We are moving to an IU code of its own, and the requirements for IU certification are going to be a little bit different in the once the IU code is adopted. Okay, interim building official. Do I have to Okay, I don't understand this question. Maybe you can clarify a little bit. The question is, I have an interim building official license. Do I have to finalize that before I apply for a certified building official license? So you have if you have a interim residential building official, you would have to apply for a commercial building official, but you don't have the timing is you don't have to finish it if your residential building official is not the experience that you are relying upon to gain your commercial building official. There are three ways to get to commercial building official. That is, you can be a 5 years registered architect or engineer. You can be 10 years general contractor, site superintendent for responsible for all trades, or you can be a full-time residential building official for 5 years. Because I know my answer was probably a little confusing. Tom Vanover, it will always be chapter 34 for sure. I agree. In order to, if you hold an interim, in order to move to full certification status, you have to pass all the required exams and send proof of that and Code Academy to the board to get your full certification. When you complete Code Academy, you're going to receive an email from me with the form to state that you have attended the full Code Academy. Once you complete that form, we're going to be sending out certificates in email. Ron Green, yes, that's exactly correct. You can take the building official breakout and get your application in for your residential building official within the next month, and we will count you as having completed the building official breakout for your certification. Okay, that's a good question. Andy, I did mention that ICC is going to be moving to no physical book tests, only virtual. I don't know when they are doing that, but I know that Autumn Saylor said that that was the plan, that the resources that people were going to be able to use would be digital resources within the testing environment, because they're very, very worried about cheating. Okay. Let's see, David Walter, I have my full non-residential building inspector and RBO. I think I answered, how does BBS know I attended Code Academy? Again, I'm going to send you a survey. You go ahead and fill out that survey. We'll send you a certificate. And at the same time, we will use the survey responses to update our records to note that you've attended Code Academy. Chris Oliver, can you combine those years of experience to qualify for a commercial building official? No, typically it's going to be one pathway or another, but stay tuned. We have some new certification rules that are going to be discussed over the next several months and hopefully be moving to active rules by August or September. And that's going to change an awful lot here, actually. If you have the residential building official, you are not required to hold a residential building inspector to do the inspections. Unlike with commercial certifications, a residential building official is permitted to do plans examination and inspections of mechanical and structural and egress. Let's see, is the email we were sent with class links specific to each individual person? No, the class links were standard throughout to everybody. So we just ask you to report your attendance afterwards, and that is an honor system. We're counting on you to be truthful and forthright in stating that you are that you have attended in good faith. Let's see. ICC in person no longer available over a year ago. The tests are virtual. So have they moved in the plumbing tests, David, um, to not allow you to bring in your own books for the tests? All right. Well, hearing no response. Any other questions? Good questions, you guys. David Radominsky.
Yes. Can you
So
hear
they're
me?
not, yes, so they're no longer allowing books in the P1 and P2 tests?
That is correct.
Wow. Okay. So I guess it's happening now, and that's probably going to be rolled out across their tests. Might be a reason to take the NCP CCI test, or maybe not. All right. Well, we are at noon. That's our allotted time. So I appreciate your time and attention. And please email us, call us, but we prefer emails.